You may know all the spiritual theory on the planet and still be avoiding the real you beneath the noise. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. Hey, hey. Hello, 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 hello. I'm Rosemary Lonnie Knight, and I'm the Prosperity Minister and Business Coach to ambitious spiritual people determined to manifest at least 5 to 10K each month whilst living luxuriously in their purpose. Now, I help you leave behind the pain and the limiting beliefs of the past so that you can rise victorious in your true design life, which is a free, fulfilled, financially abundant, love drenched life if you will claim it. Okay. We combine spiritual principles with practical action in order to create real world results in an accelerated fashion and very predictably. Step one to understanding all of this is to get a copy of my book, The Money Manifestation Mastery and Strategic Divine Guidance book. It will help you understand the essential elements ambitious spiritual people need to manifest money and resources through your gifts, your skills, your spiritual wisdom, your expertise, your life experience. Okay? So message me the word book or go see the link in my bio. Yeah, to get it. Now, as always, we're going to start by reading a divine download. A divine download is just something that I sit down with the divine every business day for my Deliberate Millionaire gathering clients. I download a message, deliver it to them, and I've been doing this for years. So I've decided to share some of my previous ones from previous years with you guys. Here we go. Listen in. Sink beneath your awareness of the physical reality and see the vastness of all that you can be. Relax and listen to the words you usually ignore, the glimpses you usually pretend are a figment of your imagination, the nudges that feel too scary to follow through on. Everywhere there is information reminding you of all that exists just beneath your conscious awareness, just at the edge of what you see, hear, feel, and allow yourself to know. There is so much more to you, and you know it. You sense the more-ness within you, and you shy away, so scared of what others will think of you if you started to pay attention to all that you subtly sense. And that fear of what they will think causes you to give up the more-ness that you could be experiencing. At some point, you will realize that working hard in the physical reality alone has reached its limits for you, unless you push yourself to the demise of your physical form. And what would be the point of that anyway? How would you then enjoy all that you've fought so hard for? There is a simpler, more potent way, but it will demand that you allow yourself to see, to feel, to hear, to know more than you've allowed to date. This resonates in your heart because you know it to be true. Will you finally find the courage to believe yourself? I am here, ready and willing to journey with you into the vastness of all that remains for you to see and experience. Life in all its fullness awaits. Will you come? So that's the divine download. So let's disseminate that a little bit. The divine starts by saying, sink beneath your awareness of the physical reality and see the vastness of all that you can be. Actually, sometimes as I'm talking about this, I'm reminded of Doom Patrol. Yes, a TV program I am currently rewatching. And there's Jane, who has the underground, where there's like 64 different personalities in there. It always reminds me of this because I do talk about the underground and the throne room. But anyway, that's a slight aside here. Anyway, so when the divine says this, it's not an invitation to go digging endlessly through every thought, emotion, belief, thought, fear, wound, trigger, everything, all your old stories, everything. No. And unfortunately, that's where if you're in stage two, if you're a stage two ambitious spiritual person, painfully awake person, this is where you misunderstand the work sometimes. You here go within and you think, oh, I have to analyze everything. I have to heal everything. I have to understand every single emotion, clear every belief or every negative belief. Anyway, that I have to sort out the whole underground before I can finally be free. But that's not actually what the divine is trying to say here. It's not calling you deeper into the underground so that you can spend your whole life managing your limitations. No. The divine is calling you to the throne room, really. To the throne room, beneath all the, or to me it's above all the noise and the panic and the fear and the old stories. Although sometimes when I'm picturing it, it is like there's this layer of noise and then there's me. So it all depends on which analogy I'm using at any time. Sometimes I am beneath the underground, and sometimes, I rise above and step above the underground onto the throne room. But whichever way, I am not the underground. You are not your emotions, you're not your thoughts, you're not your beliefs, you are you, okay? And it is you that is vast and is endless. And it is you that you need to discover. But if you spend all this time trying to figure out every single emotion and fears and blah, 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 that's not actually the goal here. Though sometimes that's what spiritual people seem to think, that that's what you're supposed to be doing, is healing everything forever. Not necessarily. I'm not saying that there's no healing to be done, but is that really all that the divine is calling you to? I still remember the divine saying to me, I think this was in 2019, if all you do is heal, then all you'll be is healed. You can be healed, you can be very healed and still very broke. Okay, very healed and still very broke. So you know that experience. You heal and heal and heal, but you're still broke. Because it's not just about looking for everything to heal. There's more to this than that. Okay, into the vastness of who you actually are. There's a part of you that isn't confused and scared and trying to earn your freedom. There's a part of you that knows yourself to be one with the divine, powerful, capable, limitless, endless, valid. And that's the part of you that the divine is kind of calling forward here. Yeah, you may need to notice what's going on in your underground. And yes, you do need to see your thoughts and or at least notice them. I'm not saying suppress them or pretend they're not there. No, but you don't have to live there. You don't have to turn the underground into your total identity, forever naming and sorting and categorizing and managing every single limitation before you allow yourself to live. No. Stage 2, as I say, I call you the painfully awakened, because it's like you're fascinated and frightened by the underground. So you're aware of it, but you're not free of it. Whereas stage 3, which is what we're called to become the practical mystic, you can see the underground, but you're not distracted by it. So now we're going to look at 6 signs that you're hiding from your own power, and you're calling it inner work. Okay, but is it? Is it though? So number 1, you have all the spiritual theories, but no real inner experience, or not that much real inner experience. So again, sink beneath, the divine says, sink beneath your awareness of the physical reality and see the vastness of all that you can be. It's not theory, it is an invitation. But again, you might be staying at the level of just the concept of what we're talking about here. You think about it, so you know what you're supposed to do. You know the frameworks. You've read the books. You've listened to the teachings. You know the language. It's like, but sometimes I get on the phone with people who have been doing personal development and spiritual growth for a long time, and they're telling me the right stuff. They're saying the right words. They know it. They know it, but they're not living it. They're not living it, okay? You can explain why you're the way you are. They know why, or what part of their childhood did cause them to be this way, and blah, 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 blah. They can name it. They can identify the wound and all of that stuff, they know everything. It's like, I have to say to them, you might even know more than I do, but you're still not experiencing it. You're still not experiencing it. Do you actually know the you beneath all of that noise? Do you know yourself to be powerful? Do you know yourself to be limitless? Do you know yourself to be one with the divine? Or are you just that person who's always trying to manage every emotion? Kind of, because there's still a part of you that is quite afraid of really looking at those emotions, which is why it has stayed conceptual rather than experiential. But the divine is inviting you beneath your ordinary awareness, beneath the surface, beneath the expert language, to the reality of who you are, because there is vastness there. The moreness that you're looking for is there. Yeah? But if you keep replacing direct experience with, oh, let me just read another book, let's do another course, another explanation, another theory. Because you can even use meditation, for goodness sake, as a way of escaping really knowing you. And I know it's not supposed to do that, but it can actually become a way of, I just don't want to think anymore. And so you're shutting stuff down without really processing or no. Ultimately, even meditation can become an escape route. It doesn't lead you to more power at all, to the power that you need to live luxuriously in your purpose, to live in your purpose. Yes, and your purpose is to enjoy being here on this planet. You know that, right? So anyway, so all the theory it's not enough if you don't have the experience. We're using learning as a substitute for direct experience. Number 2, you keep ignoring the words, the glimpses, the nudges that scare you. Yeah? So the divine says, relax and listen to the words you usually ignore, the glimpses you usually pretend are a figment of your imagination, the nudges that feel too scary to follow through on. And for you, you know what that means, okay? That there's sometimes you get these nudges, these insights, these flashes of images that, and you just call you just ignore it. We talked a little bit about gaslighting yourself yesterday, and you gaslight yourself. You receive this guidance, you receive some nudge, but it's kind of a little bit outside of your comfort zone, so you pretend you don't know. You have these desires of things you want to bring to life, but it seems too big, too much. You say it's unrealistic. The nudge tells you, oh, do this or say this, and you don't know what will people think about me if I did that. Okay, so you're receiving more information than you admit that you are, and everywhere there's information reminding you of who you are, of what you're capable of, what you're supposed to do next, and you're filtering it through fear. What will they think? What if I sound crazy? What if I'm wrong? What if people judge me? What if my family thinks I've gone too far? What if my church people think I'm deceived? What if my colleagues think I'm ridiculous? And so, because these thoughts, how am I coming across? How am I coming across? How am I coming across? That becomes the most important thing to you. And so you're not able to fully embrace the power that actually exists within you, the ability to create the life that you're meant for, to start that business that you're wanting to begin. You hold back from it because you're getting these messages. They're scary. You ignore. You tell yourself, oh, no, there's nothing to it. There is something to it. Number 3, you're still trying to win by working hard in the physical reality alone. Divine says at some point you realize that working hard in the physical reality alone has reached its limits for you. Unless you push yourself to the demise of your physical form, and what would be the point of that? And that is quite blunt when you think about it, because a lot of ambitious spiritual people, we worship hard work, whilst also pretending that we don't. Except for some of us, actually, we quite like the idea of being, I work hard, I struggle, I push through, blah, blah, blah. and yes, we also believe in prayer, manifestation, divine guidance, all of that. And you believe that the physical reality is moldable, all of that. And yet, when it comes to creating more money in your business, or starting the business in the first place, or living in your purpose, or blah, 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 you immediately default to do more, push more, post more, force harder, sacrifice more, sleep less, rest later, and all of that stuff. It's all about doing more. But the divine is asking you, what's the point of fighting so hard that you destroy the physical body that you're supposed to use to enjoy what you're creating? What's the point of creating wealth if your body is wrecked by the time you get there? What's the point of building a purpose-led income path if the building of it requires you to abandon living? What is the point of proving? Oh my goodness. Our alarm is going off. Hopefully it doesn't actually mean we're on fire. What's the point of proving yourself through exhaustion and then being too depleted to live in the freedom you said you wanted? The divine does say there's a simpler, more potent way. But it does demand that you start paying attention to those things that you're ignoring, those nudges, those things that you can see at the edge of your vision that you kind of almost don't want to see in case you have to do something about it. Oh my God! But actually, I don't know it was a few weeks ago now that I did this whole concept of the cone, and how if you can continue to live, the closer to the surface you live, the harder you have to work to just get one revolution of the cone. Whereas the deeper you are into the cone, the more in touch with your true self, the more in touch you are with the divine, the less you have to do in order to have one revolution of the cone. And one revolution of the cone is like one goal. So understand that you become more potent the more you combine. I'm not saying don't ever do practical work. Of course, there's practical action that needs to be taken, but that you combine the practical action with the internal work, with being who you are, with knowing who you are, learning to wield your energy to create the life that you're meant for. Okay, practical work alone it's not the highest power available to you. It is necessary, but it's not. Don't try and just push harder alone. That is a less potent way of getting the results you want out of your life. Number 4, you've mistaken the underground for who you are. Okay, and again, this is a stage 2 person. You even in listening to that download, you heard go beneath your go within, and immediately you're thinking, okay, I need to sort out every thought, every emotion, every belief. I need to sort it all out before I can finally be free. But that's not actually the message. because that assumption actually already comes from the belief that you are your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs. So when the divine is inviting you to go within, that's all you're thinking is, I need to sort out all my thoughts and emotions, and I believe I need to heal, I need to do this, I need to do that, and then finally I'll find me. But actually, no, the underground is not you. Every thought, you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions. They are energy units around you for sure that you can use, absolutely, but they are not you. Okay. And yeah, the underground are a collection of these memories and beliefs and reactions and inherited patterns from your family and all of that, and religious conditioning and social conditioning and survival strategies. And some of them can be quite loud and painful and dramatic, and they feel very compelling. And they might even feel like the truth because you've lived as though they are your truth, but they're still not the real you. Okay. The real you is beneath and beyond, in some ways, all of that. You are one with the divine. You are powerful. You are the God of your life, partnered with the God of all life. You have access to endless energy. You can create whatever you choose. You are the energy. Yeah, you're the engine behind it all, not all these thoughts and emotions and whatever. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm not saying ignore them, but I'm saying that you do not have to work them all out before you are allowed to create the wealth that you desire, or the life you desire, or whatever. Stage three, when you realize yourself as the practical mystic, it's not because the underground has completely disappeared from your life and there's nothing left to heal and you're now perfect and all of that. No, perfection is not even a goal. Okay, because we are one with the divine. You're never going to get to a point where you don't have to grow. Never. There's always going to be a next level. Always, always. It's endless. It's endless. You are endless. You are powerful. You, real you. So you're not the underground. Yeah, I'm not saying ignore it. Again, I'm not saying ignore this stuff, and I'm definitely not saying suppress, because that just takes up a lot of energy. But I am saying see it for what it is. See it for what it is. None of these things have the power. You, the real you, has the power. You can see the emotions and the feelings and all of that and not be distracted by them. You can see them and not decide that this is your identity, or this is telling me what I need to do next. No. And it's definitely when you do, the divine is calling you back into your kingdom, into the real you. It's not to just keep sorting through all your emotions and everything. No, that's not really the goal either. Number five, you keep managing limitations instead of ascending to the throne room. You keep managing, because that's what happens when you are trying to sort out the underground completely. You get stuck here for years managing your limitations, managing your anxiety, your fears, your doubts, the resistance, the self-sabotage. You're managing procrastination. You're managing the triggers, the old belief. You're managing. As I said, you can be trying to heal forever, and maybe you'll get healed, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be living the luxurious life that you're meant for, because being healed is not even necessarily a prerequisite for living a prosperous life. Let's be honest. Okay, being healed is one goal. Living a prosperous life in some ways is a different goal altogether. Yes, sometimes it would be helpful if there are certain things that weren't blocking your way. But to think that you have to be completely clear of every single thought, belief, and anything before you're allowed to prosper is a mistaken belief. And this is why you get stuck at stage two, in the painfully awakened stage. Especially if you then also partner that with a fear of looking really at the emotions and all of that, because you're worried about what you'll see, or fear of what you think the divine is saying to you, or the divine is asking of you. If you put it all together, then you're just avoiding everything whilst putting on a good performance of, I am so spiritual and I do know what I'm talking about, and I've read all the books and I know all of this stuff. But it's not, again, it's a concept, it's not your experience. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying here. The divine is inviting you to something else. Come to the throne room. Yeah? Come to the place of possibility. You're not imprisoned by the feelings and the thoughts and all of that stuff. You don't have to categorize everything, you know? Who you are is powerful enough to prosper despite the thoughts, the feelings, the everything. Again, I'm not saying that we don't process this stuff. I'm not saying we suppress this stuff. I am saying we can prosper anyway. Okay? So it's not about denying, it's about it is about prospering anyway. And recognizing you do not need to be perfect in order to prosper. And stop using your thoughts and emotions and negative beliefs or whatever to hold yourself back or distract you from just taking the next step forward. listening to that intuitive nudge that tells you to do whatever, do it. The alarms are going off again. My husband is cooking. I blame him completely. Oh. Number 6. No, I know my house is not on fire. Oh, Lord. All right, number 6. You're wasting creation energy on suppression and fear. Anyway, very quickly, it's kind of an ongoing continuation of what I've been saying here. We don't want to suppress or avoid or distract yourself with the underground. And you don't want to spend all your life managing your internal world. And I know, how do I, because anyway, yes, you are not just here to keep trying to handle this stuff. You are here to create the life you want. Okay? But a lot of your energy is currently diverted to managing, suppressing, or sorting through or hiding from your emotions. Okay? Or you keep meditating maybe to empty the mind. Not necessarily, it doesn't actually help you meet the real you because you're just emptying the mind, which again is another form of suppression in some ways. Not for everybody. I'm not giving a blanket judgment here or anything like that, but you know if I'm speaking to you. Because for some of y'all, you've been meditating forever and you don't. Again, it hasn't really had that much of a change or impact on your life, and you know it. But you keep doing it because, well, it's the ritual you do and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying to stop, but I am saying to start looking to see what is actually going on. What are you actually doing here? What are you actually trying to avoid? Okay? Will you finally find the courage to believe yourself? The divine asks. Pretending that the underground is not there is not the same as so it's not we're not trying to pretend that you don't have all of these emotions and all of that stuff. We see them, and still as a stage 3 practical mystic, you're not distracted by them. You still know the goal that you're working towards, and you're going to keep creating it regardless of what's going on inside of you. And I know a lot of you can say that because you are that type A, going to do stuff, going to do stuff, going to do stuff. But again, notice when you're also using your going to do stuff as a way of avoiding knowing you, seeing you, because a lot of you do carry on working, and you might even listen to me and be saying, yeah, well, I'm that person. I don't just sit around trying to heal. But then neither do you know you. You still also don't know you. Okay? And so it is this fine line, or it seems like a fine line when you're avoiding it. But actually, when you're stage 3, when you are allowing yourself, when you're really willing to look within, see who you are, embrace all that you are, and continue towards your vision all at the same time, rather than getting distracted by it or trying to pretend it doesn't exist, which all takes energy that is then not available to just simply create the life you want. This true, deep self-acceptance and this ability to see who you really are, and not as the thoughts and the emotions, but really who you are. And I know in some ways it's almost difficult to put some of what I'm trying to say into words here, because again, the words are not the experience. The words are not the experience. Ultimately, are you avoiding you? That's the real question. Are you hiding from yourself with lots of spiritual activity or practical activity, or lots of spiritual words telling, understanding everything, but never really experiencing anything? That's what you really need to get to, because you, the real you, has all the power. The real you has all the power. Okay? So listen to all of this again, because again, the words sometimes fail me. I know what I'm trying to get across, but it's an experience. And sometimes it's difficult to put an experience into words, but I do my best. I do my best, okay? So go over this again. Ultimately, the divine is saying life in all its fullness awaits. Will you come? Will you come? Will you come? Will you discover you, the real you? Will you stop hiding from you, the real you? Okay? Because everything you desire is available to the real you. The real you. And the divine will journey with you if you are willing. Go get a copy of my book, The Money Manifestation Mastery and Strategic Divine Guidance book. If you haven't got it already, you can message me the word book, message me, or go see the link in my bio. It's there. And let's finish by saying the love prayer together. Unfortunately, I'm not able to share my screen with anybody today, so we will just do it. And I'll speak the words over you. Just allow love to flow through you as I speak these words over you. Your love dissolves all doubt. Your love dissolves all fear. Your love keeps me focused. Your love keeps me clear. Your love dissolves all guilt. Your love dissolves all shame. Your love keeps me focused. Your love keeps me in the game. Your love dissolves regret. Your love dissolves despair. Your love restores my hope, my peace, my joy. Your love restores my youth and my years. Your love dissolves resentment and envy. Your love dissolves hate and rage. Your love dissolves any bitter root with anyone listening to me right now. Your love rebuilds my self-trust and my faith. Your love flows freely through me right now, resolving, dissolving, evolving. Your love flows freely through me right now, harmonizing and adjusting. Your love flows freely through me right now, resolving, dissolving, evolving. Your love makes me magnetic to the desires of my heart. See those desires for a second right now. Allow love to flood through those seeds within you. I feel your love propelling me forward into greater and greater financial prosperity right now. Money, wealth, riches are flooding into my life from everywhere and in great abundance, with ease and with speed. Much amazing love. Go forth and prosper. Until the next time, it's been a pleasure sharing this with you. Bye.